Okay, 1758, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score. Opponent, 1100, nearly 1200 games of rapid, that's very good. Goes e6, okay, let's just go d4. Okay, now we'll play c4. You might have to spend an extra move coming forward. But we're just going to try and get castled and then worry about what to do. Let's bring the bishop out, get it outside the chain. I might leave the g-pawn here this game, and just for a bit of variety, I normally go this structure. Okay, let's drop back and see if he launches one with g5. He doesn't, he castles. So bishop up is a good move, but you just got to be prepared that the pawn could launch forward. But we're putting ourselves onto an attacking diagonal. You just got to be prepared for this double hit, which can happen. So if you get it wrong, you can get two pieces being hit by the pawn. Okay, the knight drops back, so I think it makes sense to trade the bishop here. We could drop back, of course, but I think it makes sense just to trade and castle. I don't think it makes sense to trade here, though. The knight's not doing a lot right now. You could come forward, of course, but how do we break this up without causing too much damage? Here, and if you push, maybe we go here. I like e4. It does open the file up, so it's not without risk, but we're going to try and break up the structure of these pawns. So how do we actually do it? I'm going to go with the bishop, still hit the knight and hit the pawn. Then at some point try and push these maybe. Now here I like this move. Then if you come here, we can take, you're getting a backward pawn. I guess you're fine though, but what else have we got? Rook across weakens this, so it's a little bit risky to do that. I've got queen up actually to hit this pawn. You might have to push and then we can come up. I like the look of that, and it makes room for the rook to shuffle across the board and still guard f2. I'm just trying to repair some sort of pawn push. I'm not sure exactly when. So we're just getting a development move, hitting the pawn there. If we do this and you put your counter push, you've got a backward pawn to aim at, but it could become a very strong pawn. Risk and reward. If I do this, you get a very nice centre here, but then this is backward. So he's gone back over. So is there some sacrifice here? So if you come up, takes everything. No, that's just garbage, isn't it? So here, not quite. So I'm going to stick to plan. I'm going to bring the rook right across, just to gently pressure this pawn. So he comes forward with the knight, logical. So I guess we'll drop the bishop back, just trying to create this threat. But this is a bit of a problem now. Rook takes would be a bit of a disaster for us, and just rip the defense open. So that's what he's going to be looking at. So maybe knight across just so that we laterally guard. He's played bishop over. Now, do we push now then? And again, does there come a point where we can sack, even though I don't see it right now? I like the look of this, actually. I'm going to try and open things up here, potentially. Yeah, he has pushed forward, but now we've maybe got knight coming out wide. Knight coming in here. I've got knight across as well to come here. My pawn could get loose, but knight to d4 is a move. So if I come here, I'm actually, mind if I go this way, does it give him tricks? Might give him tricks, mightn't it? Yeah, I can go here and you can kick the knight immediately. Knight d4, it's a nice move in itself, but what does it actually achieve if you don't get f5? Let's play it just so we don't burn any more of the clock, because you can't take in one move, and we're trying to go to f5 and maybe then to g3. So let's come in and hit the queen and the pawn. But we've got a nice square on g3 to drop back to. Maybe this knight across as well. Our queen can obviously come under attack. So take here. I don't think gains us a great deal. But the knight is protected, so we could drop back and put the bishop there. But I've also got knight up here to double attack the pawn, right? Now I can go forward and double hit the pawn. The knight's guarded. Knight in and we can move somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Actually, we've got to guard our knight, don't we? So we might be going a little bit wrong here. I guess we step up, pawn down, queen across, and then maybe back. Yeah, let's see if he pushes his pawn, because we double attack the d6 pawn. Oh, he's taken. I just missed that. I completely forgot that was a move. I don't know why. No, am I just lost then? I might be just simply lost here. Here, queen takes, takes. Queen back. Yeah, I'm just blundered it, haven't I? What have I done? I'll go here for a move, but I think I've just blundered the game away. What the heck have I done? It's not an opening line that I normally play, and I've just completely nosed it up, haven't I? If I can just get away with getting a piece back, I've lost a pawn, but he's still got a monster centre. Unbelievable. It's not possible to guard the knight, is it? We can't go there or there or there, so we have to come all the way back. If he takes, we're going to take a pawn at least, but he can just drop the queen back. We'll get rid of the bishop, queen takes, and you guard your knight. And it's game over. Okay, so we have to take, or maybe we can get a second pawn here. Okay, so he's gone the same sort of effect to guard his knight. So we need to take the, but now we've got bishop upright. I've got queen across creating a threat. But you've got the simple knight back, so I want to pin the knight. So you see him rook across, rook over, rook across. What? Oh, I can just take. I didn't see that either. I didn't see that the bishop was being covered. What have I done? Okay, I've just played a legitimately shocking game here, but we did have a suspicious play earlier on, so it does tend to throw you when that happens. I cannot move the rook, hanging checkmate. So... well, hold on. The rook itself is hanging as well. So I have to come and try and guard. I can't. Well, I can try and kick the knight, but a check and it's still dangerous, isn't it, with a rook? Or I'm walking into a pin. Here, I guess you can just pin and trade. So I'm going to play... oh, rook across, is that a blunder as well? Check, takes, check, and it's a back rank on, isn't it? I don't think there's anything I can do. I'm going to play f3, try and trade, and hope I can grab a pawn. But yeah, rook across there, blunders, check as well. Played a shocker of a game, it's unbelievable. We did have a suspicious player early on, it's just thrown my concentration a little bit, so I shouldn't be playing really. Yeah, I think it's time to stop rapid chess. I don't think I'm going to play too much more. I might play a handful more games just to see if things improve, but I doubt it. So again, he's done the same thing with another checkmate threat. What the heck? Okay, let's just push up then. Played an incredibly strong game. Incredibly strong. I check everybody that I play, obviously. A bit more detail off camera. When you're 500 points stronger and you're struggling to compete, it does look a little bit odd sometimes, but it doesn't mean it's not all perfectly legit and above board, and I can't just play a really poor game, of course. Knight check, I guess I have to step up, because at least we hit the knight. He can just check, and then I can jump to the corner. Then he's ready to clatter through somehow, isn't he? So he's played rook up, allowing the knight to hang. So what's the trick there? If we take, he takes, a take, check here. Well, that I don't see. I'm going to grab the pawn. I'm just going to play this a bit quicker now. I'm miles down on the clock as well. Yeah, maybe I'm just having one of them days today. But I should have practically a 0% chance in this game now, unless my opponent just drops an almighty clanger of a blunder. But you can check and drop your knight back, you can get well out of the way. Just want to be risk-free for black. Here we could take the knight, so just got to pay attention, but it should be comfortable as long as you do pay attention. Like, don't forget the knight is attacked if you move your queen out the way, for instance. So he's gone for that, so we come up and we attack the knight. If he comes back, we can drop to the corner, so he's gone on the right square. So do we have to launch one here now? What about here? Here lets him in again, this way. I'm just going to play a slow move to cover the check. It's all gone horribly wrong. See, I could maybe play h4 to kick the knight, then it's not pressuring the pawn. But it gives him a really solid defense. Then what on earth do I do? I mean, I can chuck the pawns, but really tough. But h4, maybe it's not protecting the king on h2 or h4, so maybe h4 is a move. So here I thought I could just check. I don't see anything else to do. My only chance is to play quicker than my opponent and hope he goes wrong getting low on time. Like, here allows rook across and you've got to defend now. But at some point you might get a check and win the rook. So I think I'm going to play f4 first, threatening f5. And if you move your king, I've still got f5. So you just need to pay attention and you've got a really good win. Actually, yeah, because say you move your king in f5, knight check, the rook does cover. So even though the pawn couldn't take back, the rook could. But king forward, I can still play f5. Queen back might be his move. Queen back is probably the move to play, and it's fine, isn't it? Then you're still threatening a check, actually, and you win the queen. So I think queen f7 is the move, and then what do I do? Maybe queen back. Yeah, you just need to see queen f7 and he's fine. Even if I push the pawn, you've still got knight check. And then you win my queen the following move. So I'll have to maybe drop the queen back somewhere. Probably to d2, just to go a little bit more defensive. So queen f7, I think I'm going back to d2. And then check is still covered. But this is my only chance to put him under pressure on the clock. I can just check that he's actually connected there. Sure he is. Has he got an even better move, man? Of course, he could have a move that I'm simply not seeing. But this is where you've got to try and make a decision. Do I trade the queens and hope I can play quicker than my opponent, but he gets an easier game to play? So I'm just going to move quickly there. If I trade the queens, it's much easier for black to defend if I do get any potential counter chances. But equally, it gives black a better chance to create that knockout blow as well. So let's just step across there. So now he doesn't have rook across. He's got queen over, but not rook over. But now I'm up a minute and a bit on the clock. If I trade the queens off, I just have to try and get my opponent down on time. But he's still got bags of time. So queen up, he can go for this pin idea. He can grab a pawn. But then I've got rook across, but it is still a pawn's a pawn, a pawn. So I can maybe play queen up. But he checks. It's looking very bad, isn't it? So I'm going to go here. See if he wants to trade the queen or grab a pawn, because I can't really stop it. I might try and play f5 and f6. I can't really stop him collecting materials. I think I'm going to throw f5, f6 in. Here, we just have to trade and hope we've got a move like rook across. Oh, he's gone back over. So what's the idea there? So g4 is on a move now. Check up. Let's play g4. I'm going to take some risks here. Well, I've got to, don't I? Because I'm fundamentally losing, so I've got to take some risks. I could maybe spend a move with pawn up. But again, let's hit the knight. There's no rook check or queen check in one move, so the knight's under attack, goes back. So let's spend a move pushing the pawn up, and then maybe this one. Again, if I push this pawn, it's getting further down the board, but it opens my king up to checks again. So h4, h5, maybe. He's just got to hold his nerve. Can he do it? So he's come across to attack me again. So I've got the chance to trade the queen with a pin. Rook check. If I drop back, you've got another check. I don't like that. Here, rook check is the annoying move. Maybe I can just block. Trade, 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 trade. But then it's easy for him to play. Easier for him to play. So I'm going to gamble and drop the queen back. I want to try and play h4, h5 if I can, just to put him in a bit more of a defensive position and hope his clock goes down while he's finding the moves. But boy, yeah, it's just maybe one of them days today. Maybe my concentration is just not there, and that's how you get these shock results. h4, h5 looks like very natural moves though, because my king's reasonable right now, unless he manages to really pile everything in. So again, h4. Oh, he's hung his knight. He's hung the knight. He's made the mistake. He's made that mistake and hung the knight. So now I can block or drop back. Yeah, it's just concentration, isn't it? So I think if I drop back here, I'm actually safe. Because if he queen checks, I'm happy to trade now. I'm suddenly a pawn up. And my king's reasonably safe. h4, h5 would still be good, I think. But maybe just queen back now. I think just queen back, keep everything solid. So maybe even h3. We can pin the rook as well. Okay, so I think we can go for this pin on the rook now. Okay, I think we just take now. So now bring the king up and just try and keep my pawns intact, and we're suddenly winning out of nowhere. Unbelievable, isn't it? Let's play h4. That's why you sometimes really play games on when you're losing, just in case. So you can check here, but I can go here just fine. So we'll just push the pawn. Comes across, I can push this one. That's what he's done. But do I need to? I think I do actually, yeah. But we're going to try and march forward if we can. So I'm going to push this pawn and try and activate the rook and go after his king. So he's come forward. There's no en passant that way, but there is this way. Does it make sense? Here, king takes. So I just play king up. I've got to be careful about being in a mating net, though. If I come here, check. But king up, I think, is right. I've just got to be careful about being in a mating net where my king is. So if I come across, you check. I sidestep. Then I'm just going to march the pawn. That's the idea. If I push now, you come across. Then I can go here, but you check. So I'm simply going to go here and try and get a new queen. Oh, now I can actually come in and create a checkmate threat. Okay, that's checkmate. Boy, how the heck have I won that game? I have no idea. Let's see what it was in engine speak, but I'm completely messed up there, haven't I? Just having one of them days, I guess. 58 moves there, the move times for both players. So let's just request an analysis to see what it was in engine speak. But I mustn't play any more rapid chess today because that is just really bad. Really, really poor there. So how bad is it? Minus what? -6. Yeah, hopeless. I mean, I played the opening well. +3.5, +3, and then absolutely blundered it away. Absolutely silly. So we'll flick through the opening. So we've played the opening, just gaining more space, so we're getting a gradual steady advantage. We can just come all the way through to round about here. But then I just lost my way, didn't I? I needed to come across here and create a checkmate threat, and that's how I can drop the knight back. Create a mate threat and create a threat there, which is basically the type of threats that my opponent did manage to make. And as soon as I went here, this is where I went wrong in my next move. It's the same concept. I need to be able to come across here, create a mate threat, and create a check threat, and just leave the knight hanging. And as soon as I've gone here, I've just blundered it horribly. It's -2 now, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I should have taken on h6 here instead of this one, and maybe given up a second knight, and that's my best bet. Wow, that is my best bet there. And I should have taken this pawn instead of pinning the knight. So now it's like really bad, isn't it? Really, really bad. Opponent's played terrifically. I didn't even see that it could take there. And then obviously there was mate threat coming there. My opponent's done the same thing that the engine said I should have done there, creating these mate threats. In this position, you should have played the knight check straight away. So from this point on over, I've actually played it about as well as I can do. It's not flagged any more mistakes, so I've played it as well as I can. I've relied on my opponent going wrong. Unfortunately for me, and unfortunately for them, they have done. Just getting that little bit lower on time. I'm just manoeuvring and hoping that a mistake comes along, and he does, blunders it, but it's still level. Just one pawn in it. It's still a theoretical draw here. And now we just start to build that very steady advantage, and that's the mistake. If you trade the queens this way, isolate the pawn, it's still level. But this way we're suddenly +2. And now we just start marching forward, and then obviously opponent's getting lower on time. And we get a checkmate. But that is unbelievable, isn't it? 87% versus 85%, CPL 33 and 48. So that's actually in line with my average in rapid chess. So it is what it is.